Well, aloha kakahiaka, everyone. Good morning. Today is Veterans Day, November 11th, 2022. I'm your host, Peter Kay, and you have joined the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome. We've got a great lineup for you today. First of all, really quick, we got our friends over here. We have Ashley Wasson from Oahu, the North Shore, and we have Heidi Dollinger, who's from Maui, and we have Dylan Nonaka, who is from the Big Island. I want to give you guys a quick, if you're watching this on a recorded basis, and actually whether you're recorded or live, you're going to want to know, here's our lineup for today. We got a lot of things planned for you. First of all, we're going to start with some tiki music. I got a really cool soundtrack. I hope that you folks are going to like. We're going to go into the news. We got some interesting things about rainbows and Hawaiian Christmas trees, which would be kind of cool. There's some interesting, I'm going to ask you guys a question about where locals are moving. We got, of course, our real estate market update that we're going to get from Oahu and Maui and the Big Island. And we got a big question about elections. We're not going to talk politics, but we're going to talk about how elections in Hawaii are different from the mainland. And we're going to be talking about real estate deals, diamonds and deals, as we always do. And of course, motivational thoughts is how we're going to close it. So that's our show for today. By the way, if you're watching this on a recorded basis, we're using chapters in YouTube. So you can click through and skip to any part of the show that you want, or just kick back, relax, watch the whole thing. But for now, we're going to warm up. This is our chance to get the microphones working, get the Facebook audience coming in, because Auntie Joyce is anxiously awaiting the show. Welcome, Auntie Joyce, that you are here. Let's go clockwise. Let's go Ashley, and then Heidi, and then Dylan. Heidi, Ashley, how are you doing? What's the morning like in Haleiwa today?
I'm in Kailua, and it is
Kailua,
beautiful,
sorry.
and it's sunny and lovely, and it's not rainy, so I'm really happy about that. It's a beautiful day, just came out of a Tony Robbins event, so if you've ever been to one of those, you've got all the momentum you need for the next 90 days.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't know. I didn't realize that you're in Kailua. And the sun's shining in. You got a nice bright sun, which is of course the morning rise in Kailua, which we all love. Excellent. Heidi, what's the coffee of the day? How's Maui going? You're muted. There we go.
Okay, I'm doing great over here on Maui. I have my favorite badass coffee that I'm drinking this morning, and I'm very grateful for where I live, which is down near the ocean. There's been a big fire burning in the West Maui Mountains in Lahaina for about 3 days. It's burned about 2,000 acres. It's above the Laniapoko subdivision, so a few people had to evacuate. It hasn't impacted any communities. It's way up in the valley in the mountains. And anyway, yeah, dry and windy up there. So I'm happy to be down where I am, right by the beach.
Do they know how it started?
No, I mean,
Could be lightning or
it could be anything. I mean, the conditions, it's just super wind coming from all different directions and a whole bunch of dry grass. They're probably not going to be able to determine how it started. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean,
It's
fortunately, it
naturally
hasn't
good
been.
conditions for it.
Oh,
Go ahead. No.
oh, just fortunately, it hasn't been impacting homes, I mean, so far, but I do have a friend who lives at the upper part of Laniapoko, and I mean, the police came and knocked on our door, and she evacuated, and a couple streets had to evacuate, but I don't know. Um, so yeah, grateful to not be close to that.
If you take a dry situation, hot ground, dry grass, it's, you're asking for trouble. You don't need much to get started, but we will pray for the safety of those that are nearby the area. We had a couple more of our friends join us before we go to Dylan. We had, hey, Judy. Judy is back. Welcome, Judy. Judy is an Islander Ohana alumni. Welcome back. And Auntie Joyce is happy that Ashley's back, as is Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim's like, hello, everyone. Happy to see Ashley in the live. There you go. Ashley, the fan base has already started. How about that? And then we have Aloha Supernova from New York City. Aloha from NYC. Welcome, Aloha Supernova. I don't recall seeing you on our show. Welcome if this is your first time. It's not your first time. Welcome. Dylan, what's going on? What's the shirt? What's happening on the Big Island?
Well, in honor of Veterans Day, I got the green. This is my camouflage Aloha shirt. Closest thing I could find to camouflage Aloha attire. But it's a beautiful day over here. Looking forward to doing some fencing after this. I got my buddy who's a fencing contractor outside getting set up, and I told him got to keep the compressor off during the show so it doesn't make any noise. But as in most places in Hawaii, pigs are a huge issue, right? And so pigs have been coming in my yard, and my wife is not happy about them coming and digging up the lawn and the gardens and stuff. So we're putting up some pig fencing to protect the yard.
You know, Dylan, I can't exactly explain why, but when you first of all, by the way, a happy Veterans Day. Are you technically a veteran, or you're not a veteran because you're in the service? How's that work?
I'm not sure how that works.
Okay. Well, you will be a veteran one day if you're not already a veteran, if you're not considered a veteran. But regardless, happy Veterans Day, and I love the camel. I've never seen a camouflage aloha shirt. That is pretty darn cool. But you know, I wanted to share with you when you said fencing. I don't know about the rest of y'all. What did you all think when Dylan said fencing? Because what came to my mind is I thought, like, you know, he's gonna, you know, like the sword thing with the mask, and you're gonna go fencing like the sport fencing, as opposed to like putting up a fencing. That's kind of what, I don't know why. It's just
I
what you
definitely pictured
exude.
fencing.
Yeah,
Wow,
like putting
Dylan
up
does that too. He's so cool.
right, exactly. There you go.
I'll be sword fighting with a pig. I'm gonna sword fight a pig, right? Yeah.
Fencing with pigs. There you go. Fencing with pigs. Excellent. Well, Joan is here with us. Aloha, and happy to see everyone here. Well, Joan, we're happy to see you here. Joan is also an alumni, as is Bobby. Bobby's on the Big On. Aloha, everyone. Bobby's got the coolest pictures on Facebook. It's very, very gratifying, Bobby, to see what kind of a great life that you are having, and which are moved to the Big On. Happy Veterans Day to Dylan. There you go. Thanks, Jim. I'm sure Dylan appreciates that. And Mark
to
is
Jim,
back.
to Jim also. He's an Army vet.
Jim is an Army vet. Excellent. Well, good memory, Dylan. I did not recall that. Mark is back with us. Mark is also an alum of the Islander Ohana. Michelle Cook, back from Makaha. Excellent, Michelle. The gang's all here. Everyone's here on a Friday. We're going to kick back and have a good time. That's Musketeer. There you go. Joan, I will take that. I am a Musketeer at heart. Thank you. And Heather is back too. Heather, excellent. But it's like the gang's all here. We all just show up on a Friday morning, have a coffee, you know, kick back and see what these folks are going to be coming. But all right, hey, it's 10:03. Actually, it's time to get going. So I don't know if you guys have seen this group here, Don Tiki. I actually know the guy Lloyd, who was one of the producers of the band. Really cool. It's a lounge music, but it's kind of like a tiki lounge music. It's a whole genre, and they have a huge following. So we're gonna play some Don Tiki. So get your Alexa nearby, get your Alexas and your Siris and your Google Play Music, because we're gonna play some Don Tiki. So here we go. So Alexa, play Don Tiki Forbidden Sounds. Hey Siri, play music from Don Tiki Forbidden Sounds. And then finally, okay Google, play music from Don Tiki Forbidden Sounds. Check that out, everybody. You might like that soundtrack. I get a kick out of it, and it's good fun. Let me know what you think of Don Tiki Forbidden Sounds. That is a good soundtrack. Enjoy. All right, let's see. We got another comment here. My best friend Kathy Stellman is here too. She's watching from San Diego. Well, welcome, Kathy, who's watching from San Diego. It is great to have you here with us. Let's hit some news. Let's get a quick update on kind of what's happening in the news thing. So there's a bunch of stories I'm going to want to hear some feedback from. It was reported that Oahu sales fell. Oahu sales fell 42%. Big On had a sales drop, and I don't have a percentage, but both Big Island, Oahu and Big On had a significant sales drop. I'd be curious to hear some commentary from our experts on that topic. So Hawaiian Christmas tree. So this is actually really cool because Heather is here, and Heather on her Facebook page posted a Hawaiian Christmas tree story, and I picked it up, and there's a movement going on. It's called the Aloha tree. Here's the shot of it, and on excuse me, on your left. Hold on a second. On the left is the sort of like the baby version that you could buy apparently at various stores now. They're selling this, and they're putting it off as a live Christmas tree. So if in fact, it's kind of funny. Our family used to say, you know what, we don't want to have like dead trees that we've killed in our house. Can we get something else? And so this would be for those who don't want, dead trees in their house. You could get the Hawaiian Aloha tree. So on the left is the baby. On the right is like a ginormous version, and it kind of looks like a Christmas tree in some ways. It's got that kind of triangular, symmetric kind of a look to it. And in the middle there are the flowers that this tree also flowers twice a year. So it's kind of a cool movement, and I thought it was an interesting story. And you may want to, if Heather, if you end up getting a Aloha tree, or anybody else, let us know. I'd love to know about it. All right. Let's see. Let's get back into. So that was the cool story I want to share. More rainbows. So it looks like a global warming can be a good thing. It's not necessarily an evil thing, because one of the things that climate change apparently that they are predicting is Hawaii is going to get more rainbows. We're already the rainbow capital of the world, but we're going to get more rainbows, and that's a good thing. I love rainbows. It's great. Although, driving in a convertible, you see rainbows like, it's beautiful, but you also know that in a few minutes you're going to be wet. So the top's got to go up. All right. Coastal erosion. So this is not so much a factor for the Big Island, as Dylan has said, but I'd like to get some feedback from maybe Heidi and from Ashley. There is coastal erosion. We're getting some mic noise over there from somebody. Coastal erosion is now becoming a planned reality. In other words, where everyone is finally recognizing the reality of the Hawaiian Islands, which is that the Hawaiian Islands have been shrinking for millions of years. Coastal erosion has been a fact of geological life in Hawaii since the beginning of Earth time. But now, because time has passed, Hawaii became a state in 1959. There's been several decades now, and we're able to actually see the effects of erosion. So we're going to start planning around it. So I'd be curious if Heidi or if Ashley have anything that they want to comment about that coastal erosion planning. It is a reality. You saw that story about homes sinking into the ocean. Finally, dog got arrested. Dog got arrested because it was assaulting a monk seal. So in Hawaii, we also arrest dogs. A man was cited after his dog was seen harassing Hawaiian monk seals. We take our Hawaiian monk seals very sacredly, if you will. And then finally, the weather, it's starting to cool off. It was a nice cool evening last night. You can see here we're dipping into the 69 degrees as the low, with high 70s. So that is a wrap of the news. And let's why don't we do this? I'm gonna pose a question to the group, and then we're gonna get into the market up, because I'd like you all to think about this. So here's the Ohana question for today. For those of you that are participating here, that are with us here, I'd like you to take your guess. Where do people from Hawaii move? What are the most popular states that people from Hawaii move to? Give us your top 2 or 3, and let's see. Let's pick your top 3 states that people from Hawaii move to. What is it? Pop it in the comments, and we'll go from there. All right, time for the market update. Let's go counterclockwise for the market update. Give us the any news, any updates, anything you want to share, any reflection on the news or market stats. Let's go counterclockwise. Dylan, then Heidi, and then Ashley. Dylan, you go first.
Yeah, we're still seeing it's kind of a tale of two sides of the island. On the west side, with the higher price points and the more second home type markets, we've seen a dramatic decrease in the number of sales month over month, and then month compared to last year. So we're down like 50% in terms of the number of sales. But if you go on the other side of the island, it's down just a few percentage points. So the amount of sales that are happening on the east side, where it's much more affordable, and there's a lot more inventory, there isn't that huge dramatic drop. So overall, if you look at the island across the board, especially in a year-to-date kind of reference point, there's like 2,300 sales this year so far in residential homes, and there was 2,700 a year ago. So 400 less year-to-date than a year ago. But it's funny because same thing with condos are trending that way, but land is actually we're higher in terms of number of pieces of land that have sold versus a year ago. So the market's doing some weird stuff. I mean, it's definitely slowing down. Residential interest rates are definitely softening the market, but it needed to happen. I mean, it was unsustainable where we were going, and we're not seeing prices drop. Median price across the board is still up from a year ago. So the volume is going down, number of sales are going down, but prices are not decreasing. And definitely, I mean, just anecdotally, we put a nice small house on the market this past week, and we're expecting multiple offers after the interest of just having it on the market a couple of days. So the things that are affordable, that are priced properly, are still selling very quickly. The buyer demand is still there. But you just gotta price your property smart now, because that's one of the things that is hurting sellers, is they think they're in the market from 6-8 months ago, and it's not that market anymore.
Interesting, it's kind of fun because we have the show every 2 weeks, so we get to see incremental changes, right? So we kind of saw this general, okay, the madness of the COVID madness has gone away. That was like one incremental thing, and then we kind of had, okay, the volume of sales is dropping, but if you price it right, it's still good, and which kind of seems that's kind of where we're at now. I think the big indicator prices have not had any significant drop, but you have to be smart. You have to price your house correctly, which is where it's all at. We had a question from Kanakapila, which is list prices coming down, but median sales price is still up a bit. I don't know if you have a question on.
Yeah, I think we commented on this last week. So this is an important point, especially from just the internet viewer, right? That's seeing stuff on the internet. You really can't look at list prices dropping as an indicator of the market, because you have to look at what sold prices are. And people can list properties for whatever crazy price they want to list them for. It matters what they sell at. And so, of course, what the internet sites drive is that you get these price alerts that there's price drops and price drops and price drops, and then they'll aggregate that stuff, and it gets you to click on their website and go look around. But if what I'm referring to is purely closed sales data, so I don't care what it's listed for. I care what it closes at, and closed sales, are median prices still up versus a year ago. So don't get distracted by the price drops, because if you overprice your property, you're eventually going to have to sell it for the price that the market is going to bear, and that price is still going to be higher than it was a year ago, right? So even if you started 200,000 or 300,000 too high, when it eventually sells, it's going to sell for the right price.
Excellent. Well, Kanaka Maili, thanks you. And if I'm not mistaken, Kanaka, you are going through a realtor course, if I'm not mistaken. She is going to be a realtor on Oahu, if I believe. How's that coming along? I'd like to know about that. All right. Thank you for the question, and Dylan, the info. Heidi, how's the Maui situation? How's the Maui market? And anything else you want to share about Maui?
Yeah, similar to what Dylan said. The overall market's slowing. Year to date, dollar volume for homes and condos is down around 20%. Number of sales for homes year to date is down about 23%. Condos down about 31%. Compared to about a year ago, buyers are probably going to have a better experience, meaning less intense competition, especially for single family homes. And there is, compared to a year ago, more inventory. Approximately 30% more inventory. That said, properties are still selling. Our market is still robust and active. Things are still selling. It's just, it's not at the pace of about a year ago. So yeah, it's been fun, and it's always interesting to watch. I would say the single family home market on Maui has slowed down more at this point than the condo market. The condo market, especially for condos that are vacation rentals under $1.5 million, that's still a pretty in demand market, and a pretty hot market right now. It's the residential market that's slowed down a little bit more at this point. So we'll see what happens.
Again, that same trend, right? The madness is coming to a close. The market's becoming kind of more, let's say, normalized, where you have to price it smart, and there's competition more than there used to be. Excellent. So Canuck says yes, and closing on my first property. All right, congratulations. Studying break right now. Yes, right. Okay. See, the realtor pros here know what that's all about. That's a big deal, and it's going great, easy peasy. Excellent, great. That's glad to hear. Couldn't be happier. All right, Ashley. Give us the update. What do you see on Oahu? How these prices have affected things? Oh, by the way, I know Heidi or Ashley, just jump in. If you guys have any question on that, anything you want to add about that, erosion is becoming a big thing now to kind of plan into affect erosion. But anyway, Ashley, go ahead.
To your point, yeah, we did see the single family sector, the number of houses sold did go down over 40%. And what's interesting is that it is now, I think in October, it's like 220 sales for single family, which is actually historically low. Because even in 2018 or 2019, there was still 300 in 2018, 309 sales. So that was actually pretty shocking. As far as the median price, to Dylan and Heidi's point, those have really not been that affected. The median price for single family is still at $1.50 million. And in 2019 and 2020, it was $1.50 million as well. So we saw in some markets increases of 20 to 30+%. We're just seeing things go down to, pre-COVID market, potentially just sub neighborhoods. So when we're working with our agents, like my team, we're finding resale values for homes or list price, what's going on with the market, I just tell our team and our clients, we're going to go back to 2019, 2018, look at the market standards then. And that's really sort of the expectations that we're able to lay out today, right? I'd say the condo market, though, has been oddly stable. Obviously, prices have been somewhat impaled and the number of sales have gone down a little bit. But it's interesting. And during COVID in 2020, no condos were really, there was condo sales, but they went really stale, really stagnant. And I think it's because people didn't want to be around other people, right? My theory is like they wanted more space. They wanted single families. They wanted to get away. And then 2021 came around and everything started getting too expensive. So people started getting more back into the condos. And now 2022, the prices have been still so elevated in the single family space that the condo market is really thriving and people are coming back to that heavily as their entry-level homes or their investment properties. It'll be really fascinating to see what happens in the next 6 months or so in that condo area and in the higher income, the luxury homes, now that Bill 41 is in full effect. So I don't know why we're not seeing a flood of Airbnbs and short-term rental homes flooding our market like we anticipated. I am still surprised to this day. I feel like it's a gate that we're just waiting to get open. Some of the tactics I'm using with my clients is like, hey, find an Airbnb that you really love and give me the address. I'll reach out to the homeowner and see if we can get you in. As far as the erosion, coastal, for us, it's North Shore is getting hit the heaviest. I have a list. I had a potential listing. We were about to go live on market. They had nice 20-foot lead of ocean at sunset, and now they're all over the news for taking some unpermitted precautions on saving their property. And the erosion has now gone underneath their house, sadly. You don't see it as predominantly in a lot of other parts of the island yet, but we're getting hit the hardest on North Shore, and oceanfront properties have pretty much it's obliterated their valuations. The neighbors behind them, though, are excited to be titled oceanfront soon.
I guess once one property falls in the ocean, there's one that's behind it. Then that becomes the new oceanfront. Oh boy, that's funny but sad. Thanks for that update. It's interesting. So you mentioned Bill 41. We should clarify what Bill 41 is for everybody. So Bill 41 is a piece of legislation that was passed for the city and county of Honolulu. That is basically essentially outlawing any Airbnbs that are outside of the resort zones. We had touched on this over previous shows, but Bill 41 is kind of what's made that happen. Now, there's a little bit of controversy, right, Ashley? There's a court case about it because they wanted to make it, what was it? I think it was 90. They wanted to make a 90-day minimum, and that's being kind of fought back in court, but they're going to force it to be a 30-day minimum. But it is going to happen one way or another. Is that what what Bill 41 is? You want to get unmuted there? What? Just there you go.
Bill 41, yeah. So actually, Bill 41 is they wanted to redefine. So they came in with the hotel lobbyists came in and they're like, we want to stop the short-term vacation rental process, and so they banned short-term vacation rentals and said that there can only be 30-day rentals. And they put a lot of they hired people to regulate the websites and encouraged neighbors to self-police as well and report them. And then they would get fines of $10,000 in daily. And then people just adjusted, and then they just started doing 30-day rentals, and they were able to still thrive in that environment. So a year went by and they said, we want to redefine what short term is then. So yes, they wanted to redefine it from 30 days to 90 days. And it went into effect in October 15th, I believe. I don't think it was repealed. The last I heard,
It was not.
It's not repealed.
It's not repealed. There's a court case pending about the 90-day period, because the people that had 30-day that had a legit 30-day vacation rental license were, those are the ones who are fighting back. So it's still going through court, but it is kind of happening. And that is a good point, Ashley. That's a great idea to find the nicest Airbnb that you've got and see if they want to sell it.
Yeah,
that's smart. That is interesting. So hey, gang, if y'all have an Airbnb. So here, folks, you're looking for a place on Oahu. Take a look at Airbnb. You like it, send it to us, and we'll have Ashley chase after it. Maybe get it up for you. That's a cool way to go, Ashley. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Michelle, thank you, Michelle. Went into effect on the 23rd, but there's now an injunction and cannot be enforced. Correct. So the 90-day thing went into effect, and it's under an injunction, but the 30-day thing is still kicking in. So that's what's being fought about. So anyway, hey, real quick, I want to kind of to touch on real quick was this issue of the erosion and kind of how this is going to go, and I'll have you all comment in on this. Is like, it seems to me, here's what I'm catching, right? My thought is that, again, statehood, really, Hawaii didn't really become commercialized really until after 1960 with the jet age and tourism and all that kind of stuff, and the population kind of cranked up. So really, it's only 60 years ago. And there wasn't really a lot of heavy regulation, land use regulation until the 70s. And erosion wasn't really a fact. But now that we've been around for a long time, and those homes that were built 50, 60 years ago on the oceanfront homes are now seeing the effect of erosion, which, as I said earlier, is constant. It's been happening if you look at the Hawaiian island chain, erosion's been happening for several million years, and it's at a same clip. Maybe with climate change, it's happening an inch faster every 100 years than it did before, but it's still happening. So what do we see any long-term effects of this in terms of is there going to be any kind of fundamental change in the way that do you have any kind of insights or a sense of long-term change? In other words, if there's going to be new development, is it going to be 100 feet back, or are seawalls absolutely going to be outlawed, et cetera, et cetera? Do you guys have anybody want to chime in on that? Any kind of changes you see coming down the road, or you could see materializing?
I mean, yeah, I'll comment on that. I mean, it's a huge issue in Maui, and Maui County Council is actually moving forward with creating a plan to separate out of funds specifically to address managed retreat. And managed retreat is moving things away from the shoreline, and that's our roads, infrastructure, utilities. I mean, it's something that they're planning for the future. And a lot of Maui County's property taxes come from properties that are right oceanfront on the shoreline. I mean, whether they're vacation rentals, owner occupied, or hotel resort. I mean, all those properties, everybody 40, 50 years ago wanted to build as close to the ocean as possible. So that's where a lot of the tax base comes from. So the fear is if those properties are compromised by the ocean, well, then we won't have any income from property taxes either. So it's an interesting, kind of long-term future plan to think about. And we're definitely seeing it here in West Maui and South Maui. It is an issue. I mean, anybody that buys an oceanfront property or anything anywhere close to the ocean in Hawaii, there's a disclosure called the sea level rise disclosure. They're predicting in 50 years we could have as much as 3.2 feet of sea level rise. I mean, that would pretty much eliminate anything that is built directly on the ocean right now. So only time will tell, what exactly will happen, but it's a hot topic for owners that own right on the ocean. And I mean, those buildings were built 50 years ago. And at the time, that's just what they did. But now today, I mean, we need to think about a solution going forward. What's going to happen to those buildings? And that's where a lot of our vacation rental properties, like a lot of our legal vacation rental properties, are the properties right along the ocean. Um, so anyway, yeah, it's a big issue. I mean, there's no way to kind of quickly address it, but just a couple.
No, there's no, and I didn't really think about the tax revenue aspect of it. You just can't say, oh, let's just demolish these properties and, there'll be a new set of oceanfront owners. No, there's like, billions, millions of dollars, a lot of money that's tied up in oceanfront properties. We had a couple of comments here. Jason asked a quick question. Is the walkway in Kanakapila still closed due to erosion? Would you know about that, Heidi?
Yes. I mean, right on Kanakapila Beach in front of Kanakapila Ali'i, I mean, we had a different swell come in from a storm somewhere else. And I mean, it took out some palm trees and they had to close the walkway right there. Over the years since I've been on Maui, I've kind of seen beaches come and go. I mean, beaches aren't a static thing. They come and go at different times of year with the swells and they get bigger and smaller. But right in front of Kanakapila Ali'i, that stretch of Kanakapila Beach, that got hit pretty hard. Last time I was there, which was less than 2 weeks ago, it was still closed. I mean, I'm guessing it's still closed for right now. So we're hoping in the winter some sand comes back and renourishes that beach just naturally with the changing of the seasons. But I mean, those trees that are down are down. So, and they've got to repair the walkway, obviously.
Yeah, trees don't come back up when they're down. Actually, Kailua has, huge changes that you see in beaches. Kailua beaches, there's like, trees going down. Everything. Anybody else want to comment on the erosion topic? Want to chime in? We got some comment. So Dylan, the Big Island's got like 3 or 4 million years to go before there's any more beach erosion over there. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not an issue. I mean, couple of additional perspectives here. One is the state and the counties have made it so extremely difficult to build if your property is touching the ocean. I mean, you got to get a shoreline survey done. You got to go through Office of Coastal Lands to get special permitting before the county will allow you permits. So, like de facto, it's unless you have just a ton of money, it's really not. It's cost prohibitive to build oceanfront now for most normal people. And another interesting, to me, I liken this to like the lava on the Big Island, right? It's a common sense, right? If you're going to build near the ocean, there's a possibility you're going to get flooded. There's going to be erosion. Like, I don't know why this is like a controversial topic or a surprising topic. It's like, if you're going to build on a rift zone, it's potentially you're going to have lava in your front yard. So it's funny that, the way we react to stuff like this, where if you build next to a river, it's potentially you're going to get flooded, right? I mean, it's just very common sense type stuff. And an interesting thing I listened to recently had to do with the financial sector and with this whole, sea level rise threat that we talk about a lot. And what's very interesting is there's no prohibition in getting lending on like any of these projected areas that are going to be underwater in 30 or 50 years. Right. And if that was the case,
run it back again. Go back over that slowly. That's an important piece. That's an important point that you're making.
So, like financial people are pretty smart, right? Big finance is like pretty smart people. They have extremely deep underwriting studies that they do and stuff. And you have all of these projections of, sea level is going to rise 3 feet and all these places are going to be flooded in America. I mean, not so much Hawaii, but, all across the United States, right? Florida and low-lying areas. But there's no prohibition on getting lending in these areas. You can still get a 30-year mortgage, right? So why would lenders, if this was something that was actually a threat or like a credible threat, why would lenders still be taking a risk and doing 30-year loans on a place that could be underwater in 30 years, right? And so until that happens, it's a very interesting indicator of, there's a lot of media hype and all this kind of stuff, but follow the money, right? Money is always where the smart people are at. And why is that not something that the finance industry is more concerned about? Is an interesting thing to consider to me.
Hey, just to kind of throw that one in there, you make a really good point. The famous one of the most famous Hawaii-born Americans, Barack Obama, is known to buy a beautiful place. I think he owns two homes, two amazing mansions. One on Martha's Vineyard, which is just above the waterline, and another one that's being built as we speak on Ashley's side of the island, on the Waimanalo side, right along the water. So if anybody gets clued in on climate change issues, he would know. I would think he would know, and he's good for the next 20 or 30 years. God bless him if he lives that long.
I'll comment on his though. His is where he has bought his property. There's a protective wall around the outside perimeter, and it was like one of the only ones grandfathered in. And he's getting allowed to put a seawall in addition to, so it's super controversial. The neighbors have pushed back on it, but they're able to make certain moves that are untraditional due to his position to protect his particular asset. So they do have concerns about the erosion at that location.
Okay, there's the counterfactual. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for that counterfactual. Obama's got a seawall. Well, Dylan, there's a mark in favor of it. Not in favor, but there's a mark indicating climate change is coming. Anybody else want to comment on this?
It's all about who you know, right? You can do whatever you want if you know the right people.
If you're going to buy oceanfront, just get better connections.
I just wanted to comment, like, there's also other possible future solutions that people are going to develop to kind of alleviate this problem. I mean, I'm hesitant to speak on this because I'm certainly not an expert, but in one of the properties that I was dealing with, I mean, there's been a proposal to create some kind of bio reef that grows coral and floats out in the bay and would kind of not only enhance the coral population, but reduce the impact of the waves directly on the shore. I mean, so there's opportunity for innovation and beach renourishment, and I mean, more creativity in how to solve this problem instead of just, I mean, assuming doom and gloom. But I mean, it's anybody buying an oceanfront property has to be fully aware of, they're right by the ocean. Obviously, that could be, a danger.
Excellent point, Heidi. Excellent point. Look, the human condition is we have 10,000 years of history of humans picking up and moving or making things happen, and that is the great success of the human spirit. I mean, what's the country, everybody? There's a country. Is it the Dutch? What country is that? Whatever, not Dutchland, but Dutch. Holland. Thank you. Holland is famous, right? Holland has done a massive amount of reclamation. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the airport in Holland famously is what used to be underwater, and it's been reclaimed land. So the human condition is all about engineering and making the world work the way that we want it to. So having a reef, yeah, that's a possibility. All right. Hey, we got a couple. Let's see. We had a couple of comments, but first I wanted to do this. You're all probably wondering. Okay, so hey, let's do this real quick guess. So let's go Ashley, then Heidi, and then Dylan. Give me your guess of the number one place, just for the fun of it. What do you think is the number one place where locals move to? Ashley, then Heidi, and then Dylan.
Well, the ninth island, of course. Vegas.
Okay, ninth island. Okay, Vegas. Okay.
Although I do have a second one if no one says it.
Go ahead.
Seattle.
Okay, Heidi.
My guess would be California, and then the ninth island, Vegas.
California, the ninth. Okay, Dylan.
I did a video on this, and I don't know if were you looking at the same website that I did the video on? I should know this off the top of my head.
We're going to find out in a minute.
Yeah, there's a census website that shows you exactly what county people are moving to, and it was Vegas, California, Oregon, Washington. It was mostly West Coast cities, but there was some random one in North Carolina or something that had a really high percentage. But yes, it is interesting where they go.
It is interesting. Okay, so this one is according to the 2019 American Community Survey that was added to the Hawaii State Data Book in 2021. So here's the places. Number one, California. 12,000 people moved from Hawaii to California. Number 2, Texas. 7,000 people moved from Hawaii to Texas. Third, Washington. 5,800 people. Nevada is like down to number 6. So we're all thinking Ninth Island. Everyone moves to Vegas because we all hear about family who moves to Vegas, right? Everyone here has heard about family members that moved to Vegas, but no, it's California, Texas, and Washington. So Heather mentioned, I believe, Washington. So are you surprised, gang? What do you think? Is that a shock to you? Do you think there's something kind of weird about that? It's California, Texas, and Washington State. So there you go. Let's see. We had a couple of comments over here and a funny question. I want to just to comment on this. So Michelle Cook, a bunch of properties that just fell into the ocean yesterday in Florida, from a hurricane. Well, natural disasters. We had a segment long ago about like why you may not want to be a beachfront property, and that would be one of them. Flood insurance is capped as $250K, so it wouldn't help on ocean property. No, it would not. All right, hey, we're going to move on, but I want to get Paul. Paul sent a funny question, so let's go there because hey, it's ask us anything, right? You got any questions? Pop it in the comments. We'll do our best to respond. Paul says, "What do people prefer to drink?" So what's your favorite drink? And Paul's thinking Peter wants martinis. Ashley only drinks pure spring water. Dylan enjoys beer, and Heidi cannot back rot gut whiskey like a Norwegian lumberjack. Oh my God! Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for the big lull.
That might be the best comment ever. That might be the best question ever.
Best question ever. Best.
So accurate for me.
Best. All right, let's go counterclockwise. Dylan, then Heidi, and then Ashley, who's drinking her spring water right now. Dylan, what's your favorite drink?
Oh yeah, I love craft beer, like not brand name. I mean, I love to go to different places and go to their small breweries and stuff like that. So yes.
All right, craft beer. All right, Heidi, what about you?
Well, it's not rot gut whiskey. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I love beer and wine. I don't really drink hard liquor that often.
Okay, beer and wine girl. Ashley, how about you?
I love me some water, alkaline water. But if I do have drinks, it is a good whiskey or a good bourbon or something. But I have nasal polyps, so alcohol makes it all inflamed. So that's why I drink a lot of water.
Man, Paul's got 2 out of 4 here. I myself am a bourbon drinker. Preferably the Costco, whatever Costco's selling it, whatever the Kirkland brand is, I'm buying that. So, Paul, Costco actually had I was shocked to find out, Paul, Costco. Hey, everybody, if you're all bourbon drinkers, Costco's got this great, at least in Hawaii, Costco's got this great single barrel short run 120 proof bourbon, and it is really good, and it's only $30. So normally you pay like $100 for this kind of thing, and at Costco Kirkland, man, $30. So there you go, Paul. Shocked. You were close on the martini, I suppose, but so there you go. And I'm in. Hey, Jason says, hey, I'm in Asheville for work, Dylan, and there are hundreds of breweries here. Well, there you go. Now you know where to go on your next vacay. And Auntie Joyce says, California's crazy move to me. I got Texas right. Yeah, friends, family, who knows, right? Well, here's a guess. Why would California be so big? Here's a guess. The guess would be that a lot of people have moved here from California, and a lot of those folks are moving back. Now, maybe if there was a survey to say which locally born, where do locally born families go, I'd say Vegas 100%. 100% of the locally born families go to Vegas, but that's just a guess. All right. All right, gang, let's move. It is time to move on. We're almost at that point. Hey, first, gang, I want to tell you if you're not registered, get the islanderohana.com. We're going to have our next cohort. It's going to start in January of 2023. If moving to Hawaii is your dream and you want to go through it the right way and be involved with a great group of people, the alumni are on this show. It's a fantastic group, actually. You want to be part of the islanderohana.com. Go there and register. Get yourself started. All right. I think I got everything. I think I got everybody's comments. If you have we're going to move on. If you have a question, and even if it's an ask us anything question, even if it's like what's your favorite drink, that's good. But send us your question, pop it in the comments. I did want to chat about this, and we'll see how this is going to go. I did want to talk about elections in Hawaii versus the mainland. We're not going to talk about politics because I'm not into that anymore. Not fun. But Heather had brought this up. Actually, Heather had made a comment on the Islander Ohana. We have a private Facebook group, and she made a comment about this, about how the elections in Hawaii, how Hawaii is not as crazy. It doesn't seem as crazy here as the mainland. Hawaii's got a different vibe. And even though politically we're about as deep a blue state as you can be, there is a different vibe here. Like one of the things, for example, that I've noticed is that we don't have, because there's no competition here for blue versus red, Republicans versus Democrats. There's not hardly any political ads here. There's no political ads. There's no political sort of acrimony because we're kind of a one color state. So I would like to kind of ask, and everyone, by the way, I want to ask it to everyone, not just to Ashley and Heidi and Dylan, but also to you who are watching, especially Islander Ohana members that have just moved to Hawaii. What do you see? What's your sense of kind of like, how is Hawaii different in the political climate around election time that you sense that's different here from the mainland? Dylan, I'm going to go to you because you've got a way back in a previous life. You had a political background. You be the authoritative source here. What's your sense of how Hawaii is different on a political sense, elections wise? How is it different here?
Well, mainly because there's no competition, that's results in a lack of activity. And the thing that ultimately that results is in very low participation, right? So if you look in this last election, there was 861 people registered to vote. There's probably 1 million eligible voters in the state of Hawaii, somewhere around there. We got 1.4 total in the state. So out of them, about 86% registered to vote. And then out of those people, there was 417,000 voters in this general election, which is only 48% of the registered voters. So very, very low participation in terms of the people that vote, but that's mainly because there's not a lot to vote for, right? It's in most districts, the elections are not competitive, or there's not a lot of activity. So I don't know. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, unfortunately. I think a lot of people have said it's never going to change, so they don't get involved. And if you don't get involved, things never going to change. And so it's interesting. It feels like there is a lot of people, I guess because of my background, people love to complain to me about politics, but it's like, there's no point in complaining unless you do something about it. I don't understand that, because most people complain, but not vote or not be engaged. But an interesting thing, so take away from this election is, if there's one thing to kind of take away, Republicans won seats for the first time in a while, like increased the numbers in the state house, and they won a second seat in the state senate. So now there's going to be 2 state senators. But if you look at where that happened, that's what's interesting, is you don't really look at the politics of it. You look at where it's happening. All of the new house seats that were won, 4 new house seats that were won by Republicans, are all on the west and central parts of the island, which is where young families are, middle class people are. Kind of counterintuitive to the general national political narrative, right? Where young people are more Democratic and older people are more Republican. It seems like in Hawaii, and I've had this theory for many, many years, that young people are going to grow up and see that, stuff is not the way, it's not ideal for them and their families, and they're going to naturally vote against the people in power, right? Regardless of kind of what your ideologies are. That's a lot of times what happens. And so we're seeing that. It's very interesting. Ewa Beach, Waianae, Waianae of all places is voting Republican, which is crazy. If you're from Hawaii, it's like it's a totally counterintuitive thing. Very local, very Hawaiian, like not the place that you would think that would be a Republican stronghold. And those are the areas that are trending in that direction. So I don't know if balance is coming. I think balance is always better. Competition is always better, but very low participation is really the big takeaway, and what results in what we have.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. Joan, who just moved here, says, hey, it doesn't seem as cutthroat in your face. Yeah, that's it. It's not as cutthroat in your face, although it was obvious to me who had the big money behind them. Yes, it's very, very clear. And to Dylan's point, because there's not a whole lot of competition, there's no need to be cutthroat because no one's going to lose, per se. And those little races.
And what you missed though, and to that comment is maybe you weren't paying attention, but if you watch the primaries are nasty because that's where the elections are won, right? So the primaries amongst Democrats are very hard fought, and there's actually way more advertising in a primary than there is in the general election, because once you win the primary, if you're a Democrat, you're almost 99% sure you're going to win the general election. So that's when, if you want to see more of the internal politics, you see some really nasty stuff happen in the primaries here. Yeah,
definitely. Excellent. Heidi, Ashley, is there anything you guys want to add to this? How do you sense, from what you talk to or what you hear, what do you think how do you feel there's a difference in Hawaii during election time that differs from the mainland experience?
I mean, my only other experience would be previously living in Chicago, and that's pretty cutthroat, and most politicians in Illinois end up in prison after they serve. So it's a little bit more aloha here. I mean, I don't think culturally, I mean, a TV ad where a politician was just railing on somebody else and putting them down would be something that would really be accepted. So I haven't really seen that. A big issue on Maui is affordable housing. I mean, everybody's for affordable housing, but then it's articulating, what exactly does that mean? So yeah, I would say, unfortunately, low participation. I think our voter turnout's around 34% here, and not a lot of competition, but it means there is opportunity for people that live here and do want to get involved. So yeah, I admire people that are on county council and do serve in that way, because I know it's not an easy job. So I do admire and appreciate.
What's remarkable to me, Heidi, is that the participation rate, the voter participation rate is, like Dylan mentioned, well, you said 34% in Maui, 40% statewide. I mean, and to me, what's amazing about that statistic, and maybe it's another question that we could have if we have any time, is we're an all mail-in ballot state. So that means everyone gets these ballots mailed to them, right? I mean, these things, show up in every single registered voter's mailbox. You've got them in your house, and all you got to do is mark it up, lick, and pop it back in the mailbox, right? So if we're getting a 40% participation rate of that really tells you that people are like, I don't care. I just don't care. And, there was a bumper sticker, Dylan, you might remember this, a long time ago, there was a bumper sticker, which is, it was spelled in a kind of a strange way. It was, I no care, AINANO, whatever. I no care, which is like local slang for saying, I don't care. I no care, right? I no care, which is, I don't care. And that was a bumper sticker that was popular. So I no care. Ashley, how about you? What would you like to add to this?
I've honestly lived in Hawaii my entire adult life, so I don't recall and have any, nothing to compare to that I can reference. But I do think that there is, in my opinion, at least here on Oahu, that we have a strong Asian demographic, and they just have a little bit different of a temperament than maybe where I'm from, which is New Hampshire and Massachusetts in general. So less aggression. And something else that I do notice when I go back home on the mainland is that we don't have TVs everywhere with ads and commercials on all the time, like in doctor's offices and waiting rooms. Even at my mechanics, I don't really see a lot of TV or ads and stuff like that. So we don't get as much exposure. I think we just have a lot more outdoor life available to us here. So people just have distractions. And I think also we are just such a blue state. So if you are, have any type of opposing view, you already do feel pretty defeated and you don't feel like you can make a difference.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. But hey, if there was a red by percentage, Dylan, Hawaii had a red tsunami. We doubled the size of we had 100% increase of Republicans in the Senate. We went from 1 to 2, so it was a red tsunami in Hawaii and
a 33% increase in the House.
And a
So
33% increase out, which is like we blew away the national standards. Not we, but Hawaii Republicans blew away the national standards by a wide margin. So there you go. All right, let's move on, gang. It's time to hit our diamonds. And by the way, so once again, there is a question real quick. I do want to thank you for Kanaka for resending. Are units with NUC allowed to rent daily on Airbnb or forced to do a 30-day minimum? I don't know what NUC means. Ashley, can you take that? Do you know what she's asking for here?
I don't know what NUC is either.
Okay.
She may mean NCU, non-conforming use, right? Non-conforming use permit. I mean, I'm guessing.
I will say, even if condos, I'm not sure if this answers the question, but even if you're in a resort zone per se, you still do have your 30-day minimum requirement. And perhaps that's what she means by non-conform. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but non-conforming use permits, they have to be renewed every year, I believe. And a lot of people don't renew those. So they think that they have those permits in place. But if you look them up, they're actually expired.
So she does mean NCU, non-conforming units, and a non-conforming unit is what? A unit
non-conforming use. So you're using it, outside the conforming zoning.
Got it.
Yeah.
Outside the conforming zoning. So okay, so back to that same rule again. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. On Oahu, you have to, if you're not in a resort zoned area, you've got at least the 30-day minimum, if not more. If you're in a resort owned area, I'm not too sure is it still 30 days? Like if you have a condo in Waikiki, are you still at
that's going to depend on that particular condo's CCNRs.
Okay.
And a lot of them do have the stipulations. But
Correct.
the co-ops, we just contact every association or management company for all of the co-ops and anything that is resort zone and just ask if they have any CCNRs that would stipulate for anything less than 30 days.
Right. Got it. All right. Kanaka, hope that clarifies. All right, gang, let's move on. It's time for diamonds and deals. Here's where we highlight the properties that we want to that excite us, either they're diamonds or they're deals or a little bit of both. Let's see who's up first over here. Heidi, what do we got here in Kula, Maui?
So this is a single level home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, completely remodeled in 2016. It has ocean views, 855 square feet of lanai of outdoor space and a finished attic and a 2-car garage with storage. There's avocado, banana, mango, guava, lemon, lime, sour orange, and tangerine trees on the property. So I thought it was a pretty amazing offering for 1398 up in Kula. Just came on the market yesterday.
Man, I just love the idea of having all those fruit trees in your backyard. I guess I love the idea of the fruit trees. I don't know if I love the maintenance of the fruit trees, but I certainly love the idea of the fruit trees and great views. Excellent. Thanks, Heidi. Let's see what's up next. We got Ho'okele Street in Maili, Oahu. Ashley, fill us in.
I put this one up because I felt like it was a deal. It's $629,000. I feel like it's a great entry-level home, and you're right by Maili, the beach park, and you've got the pillbox hike right above. I'm not sure if you can see right above Oahu. You see those boxes up there. That's a hike. You have Sea Country in the back, which has a cute little convenience store. And it's got a big, large mango tree in the back, low maintenance yard, fully gated, an extra large carport with storage. It's a corner lot. You can also park on the other side of it as well. So you've got like side parking, and it's a good street. It's quiet neighbors. And I just feel like this is such a diamond for just over $600,000, single family home. And it's got all new drywall, insulation, double pane windows. It has new electric wiring. Like everything is new. So you don't have to maintain really much. I thought it was a total diamond.
It's a diamond. It's a diamond and a deal of at that price. That's great. How would you respond to someone saying, "Hey, how would you fit this in this area for a malihini, a newcomer who's just moved to Oahu? Would this be how would you respond if they asked about, hey, how's this area for me to move into?"
Well, it's West Side, right? So with West Side, you have a large local demographic, and you need to have and live with Aloha. You don't come through and act entitled. If you're loving to your neighbors, then they're pretty loving back. As far as, being acceptable to the different cultural differences, I just say be aware and be conscious. It is predominantly local family. Sea country is heavily, like the road right behind it, that's heavy military. There's a large military presence on the west side, and the prefab developed homes. This isn't prefab developed, so you don't have that maintenance fee and the association fees, and a lot of families like that because they don't want the additional, monthly cost. There is homeless in Waianae. There's actually a homeless person on the street, so you've just got to be aware and okay. But I also had a homeless person outside my Aina home for under $2 million. So pick your poison.
Pick your poison. Look, I think in general, you've got to get in, and this is what the Islander Ohana course that we go through all talks about. You've got to get in with the local way. You have to fundamentally transform yourself and fundamentally embrace Hawaiian and local values. And we talked about this on the show before. And this is all the much more so if you can be blind. But man, that is a deal. There's no doubt about that. And it's right by the ocean. Can't beat it. Thank you, Ashley. All right, Dylan, what do we got over here?
Yeah, this just hit the market. The view picture doesn't do it justice. I mean, it's got this ridiculously huge view looking down into Kailua Bay. This is around 1,000 feet of elevation somewhere on there, so nice and cool. But cool, like Spanish villa kind of feeling property where you can kind of see that overhead view where there's a separate area with 2 separate bedrooms with separate bathrooms. So if you wanted to do like a hosted rental type thing, or you had extended family living with you, it's 5 bedrooms, 5 baths. Every bedroom has its own bathroom, and 4 of the bedrooms are completely separate entrances. There's a courtyard in the middle with a pool you can see from that overhead or that top picture on the left. And so that's kind of the central area of the home. And then all of the bedrooms and living area are surrounding it. So just cool design. For $139, you get 20,000 square feet of land. So almost a half acre of land in a great older neighborhood with just ridiculous views. So just definitely a diamond and a deal.
That is an amazing. I mean, I keep thinking about that. You said 4 of the bedrooms have their own entryways. I mean, that's, man, I don't know if that's either a crazy vacation rental, if you could do it. Like it's almost like a hotel, like a bed and breakfast. Yeah, Heather thinks so. Dylan, I know what your take is on. I know what your take is on that. And
well, that's a big advantage in something like this is on the Big Island. If it's a hosted rental, hosted meaning you could live in the house. There's no regulation on how you short-term rent at that point. So you could live in the main section of the house, which is where the living room and the kitchen is at in the master bedroom. And then there's 4 other bedrooms that are completely separate and have completely their own bathrooms. 2 of them have wet bars, so really set up for something like that. If that's something you wanted to host.
If that's something you want to host, that's like a little basically it's a 4-room hotel. Essentially, it's a 4-room hotel that you could, if you can handle being a host, it is the heck of. But anyway, regardless, that's an amazing property.
Is that black sand? What is that is that a valley that's behind the lanai there? It looks like is that a beach or?
Oh no, yeah, you're looking right down into Kailua Bay, so you can see the pier and all of Kailua town. So that's off in the distance. It's like the old airport, beach park and stuff. It's a killer view. This is a Keoho Mauka, so it's like above the Keoho shopping center and stuff, and then looking down towards that northwesterly view.
Hey, somebody who's jealous about this is Chris. So Dylan, Auntie Joyce, you're gonna have to do the up. It's time for an upgrade there, Auntie Joyce. Time for an upgrade.
Their view is pretty good too. Their view is pretty good too. So it's not too much to be desired for.
There you go. There you go. Good to know. All right, gang. It's time to wrap this up. So we're going to go into the closing motivational thoughts. And hey, I'd like to hear. We're going to hear from your team here, but I want to hear from you. If you've got any pop your favorite closing motivational thoughts, you folks that have been here before with us, you know what this is. Pop your best. I'd like to pop in. I'd like to kind of show them in the comments what motivates you and why. Okay, let's go down the road here, and I'm going to start with Dylan. Dylan, what is it, and what does it mean to you?
I guess this is also in honor of Veterans Day, but this is the biggest takeaway I've had in life, after serving in the military is every day you don't get shot at is a good day. So it's all about perspective, right? And no matter what happens in your life and what's going on at work or the stresses of life, I always come back to nobody shot at me today, so I had a great day.
Man, that's a great standard, Dylan. I have to keep that in mind. If I wish I would have known that when my kids were younger. It's like, did you get shot? Then you got a good day. You got nothing to complain about. Well, Norm's happy. Norm said, "Hey, I just caught the last 15 minutes. I was getting our home ready for the market. I'm looking for the great show." Norm, you're very welcome. What makes it great is the people that are with us, both our amazing co-hosts and of course the rest of the Ohana. Thank you, Norm. Okay, I love the standard though. I got to tell you that I love the standard. Let's see here, Heidi. What's your code and what does it mean to you?
So this is more of a blessing. May there always be trade winds behind you, rainbows above you, and aloha all around you. And that is my send-off thought. Just wishing everybody well.
That is beautiful. That makes me think of it's like a takeoff on the Irish. May the wind always be at your back, but this is like the Hawaiian version of that. I love that. Excellent. Auntie Joan is chiming in here. Leaps of faith put us in astounding new places. Excellent. And Auntie Joyce loves the Friday show. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you. Excellent. Thank you, Heidi. All right, Ashley. Oh, great. Let's hear it.
I mean, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you're focused on being happy and finding the positives, or you're focused on a dream or an ambition, then you start to flow in that direction. But if you're focused on politics or you're focused on negativity, you just start to feel the bears of life sort of fall upon you. So I always love this mantra. I have a sticky note, as we go out the door, where our focus goes, our energy flows, so that my daughter stays positive. I think that write it on your bathroom mirror. Don't forget it. Smile often.
That is an excellent one. There is a Hawaiian shamanic tradition that has that thing in slightly different wording. It says energy flows where attention goes, but it's the same exact thing, just said in a different way. That is absolutely true. What are you focusing on? Focus on not getting shot, and you're going to be good. That's the way I'm kind of seeing this.
I love Dylan's theme throughout the day. But thanks for bringing us to Veterans Day, Dylan, and reminding us and wearing the attire and everything.
That's what it's all about. I couldn't agree more. Heidi loves Heather loves your quote, Heidi. It is a beautiful quote, actually. I have not seen that before. It's a fantastic one. And Christian is giving us sending their aloha to us, which is we are happy about. All right, I'm going to close with my favorite quote, my favorite book in the world, Proverbs. Better to be poor and walk in integrity than to be crooked in one's ways, even though rich. It's not about the money. It's about the integrity, right? It's about the focus. If I could blend everybody's thing over here, it's about the focus. It's about where your energy goes. It's about having aloha all around you, and most of all, not getting shot. So, hey, gang, look, it's been a great show as usual. We're going to go counterclockwise. Say goodbye, everybody. Dylan, then Heidi, and then Ashley. Oh, you know what? Let's go opposite, because I want Dylan to have the last word as the veteran. So I'll say goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. Then Ashley, then Heidi, and then Dylan. You wrap it up on Veterans Day. Go ahead, Ashley.
Aloha all. Have a blessed day, and thank you for having me.
Aloha, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Have an awesome long weekend.
Awesome long weekend. See you all in 2 weeks. Aloha.